ako'y naniniwala na hindi lang naman tayo nandito sa mundong ito para mag-isa, kundi para samahan ang isa't isa. Ngayong panahon na to, maraming kalungkutan, pero sa kalungkutan marami ding kasayahan. Yun ang ating i-discover palagi. Sa kalungkutan, merong kasiyahan. Sama-sama, TLC.
Happy day to you, kaibigan. Kumusta ka na ba? Always keep on smiling because happiness is contagious. Masaya ang buhay, di ba? And you know, do whatever that excites you. Do not put limit on yourself. Tamang igalaw ang inyong mga isipan at patuloy na mag-aim ng mga goals na makakatulong sa paglago ng inyong pagkatao. Maraming salamat at patuloy tayong magsama-sama sa TLC.
Noted, in time like this, napakaligaya at kahanga-hangang pagmasdan ang magpapamilya at magkakapatid na nagdadamayan. Ang inyong nakababatang kapatid, halina, tulungan lagi ang sentro, TLC.
Kahit gaano pa nakakapanghina, nakakatakot at nakaka-stress ang mga pangyayari sa ngayon, huwag kang susuko. Huwag kang bibitaw sa pag-asang ang bukas ay mas magiging maaliwalas kaysa ngayon at kahapon. Ito ang inyong brand, sama-sama sa TLC.
Nagsimula sa isang iyakan, kalaunay nagkukulitan. Ang programang Students and Me muntik nang iiwanan, ngunit sama-sama sa TLC.
Ang hirap ng buhay, ang daming problema, ang daming pinagdadaanan. Easy ka lang, okay lang yan. Basta't kasama mo lagi si bro, tiyak, kayang-kaya natin yan. Tandaan, sama-sama sa TLC.
The views and opinions expressed by the host do not necessarily state or reflect those of the company and its management. Furthermore, the views and opinions of the guest do not reflect those of the host, the show, the management, and the network.
Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. It's 8:30 Saturday once again. And you are with me, Dr. Eva Aranas Angel, here in Talk Life Channel. You are in Kuwentong, Alzheimer's at iba pa. This is Season 1, Episode 9. Tonight's episode is Gerontological Nursing. So, there are nurses and there are gerontological nurses. In the middle of the pandemic and population aging, it is important to know the role of gerontological nursing. Our guest will explain to us why there is a need for gerontological nursing. Our guest also will give us idea and insights why there is a need for nursing specialization in this present time. And she also would like to explain why she founded the Gerontological Nurses Association of the Philippines and its crucial role in the nursing education, training, and learning new skill sets for nurses. And as a nurse, and if you are a nurse, and if you are interested in becoming a nurse, maybe you would be interested to listen to tonight's episode so that you can be informed and in the future be relevant. I would like to introduce our guest. She has been a long time acquaintance and friend, and we've known each other for over a decade. So she had her pre-nursing degree from the University of the Philippines. The year I was born, 1968. She finished her diploma in nursing at the Philippine General Hospital in Manila, and she had her master's in nursing at the University of the Philippines in Manila and her PhD in nursing at Silliman University. On top of that, she had special session and a short course in health and longevity in older persons from the University of Malta, where I also attended. But her scholarship was funded by the United Nations Population Fund. Mine was a different United Nations branch. So, in any case, ladies and gentlemen, more than just what she has accomplished, she is currently still part of the faculty of the UP College of Nursing and is an active member. Hold on, I'm having a problem with my mouse. Okay, so currently she is a faculty member of the College of Nursing in the University of the Philippines and a full-time faculty during her leave at the Silliman University in Dumaguete City and a faculty and chair at the Student Relations Committee at the UP College of Nursing. And she also held several positions, but the most recent ones would be the professorial, there we go, professorial lecturer on at the University of the Philippines College of Nursing in Manila and our neighbor, the University of Trinity University of Asia. It used to be Trinity College, and it was the next door neighbor to St. Luke's Medical Center where I trained. And her affiliations include being a lifetime member of the Philippine Nurses Association and a founding and board member, an honorary member of the Philippine Oncology Nurses Association. This has something to do with cancer. And her feather on her cap would be having established and founded the Gerontology Nurses Association of the Philippines, where currently she is the vice president. On top of that, she's also the founding member and vice president of the Philippine Society of Geriatrics and Gerontology, of which I am a member. And she's also a board of director of the Dementia Society of the Philippines for the Allied Medical Group. So when we say about Allied Medical Group, there are groups of doctors, but the Allied Medical Group would be the nurses, the physical therapists, and the pharmacists, and other members of the team that take care of persons with dementia. And she's with the Dementia Society of the Philippines Allied Medical Group. And she's also a member of Alzheimer's Disease Association of the Philippines, otherwise known as ADAP. So, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome a most sought after lecturer when it comes to nursing and when it comes to ranking as a nurse in the Philippines. I couldn't think of anyone more qualified, and I couldn't think of anyone better as a lecturer than our guest tonight. Please help me welcome the very lovable doctor, because she's a PhD, Lydia Tolentino Manahan.
Hi, good afternoon, good evening, Dr. Angel. I always call you Dr. Aranas because I learned, I knew you before as so Dr. Angel. Good evening, and to our guests, magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Natutuwa po ako na nandito ako kasama ang aking favorite friend, si Dr. Aranas Angel.
Ayan. Kailangan ang fel, wag kalimutan. All right, how are you, Ma'am Legs? I'll call you Ma'am Legs, ha? We will not be formal tonight, ha?
Yes.
I won't call you
Anyway,
Professor.
that's how I am known as
Yeah,
Ma'am Legs.
all right.
Anyway, I would say, can I say my feelings? When I received your letter, I was happy because I said, wow, another venue to express
Yeah.
my advocacy for older persons.
Mm-hmm.
But when I said yes, and you asked for my CV and picture, the anxiety was in me. My gosh.
Hi.
I felt like
You've been
I
doing
am
this
entering the
international.
bahay ni Eva. Not the bahay ni Kuya, but bahay ni Eva. So I was saying, will I remain in the bahay or will I be evicted? Of course, I don't hope to be evicted.
At least for an hour, you will remain bahay ni Eva na, which as you know, and probably some of my friends would know as full of copies. I'm just crazy over copies. Even my butler trays and serving trays are made of copies. So in any case, welcome to my bahay na copies. And I would like to say good evening to our viewers, and we are very lucky to have Dr. Lydia Manahan with us. But I'd like to call her Mom Legs because, she's like an older sister. She makes you feel that way. She's very affable and very easy to like. And that's why it's always good to have her with the team when you would come over and visit, give trainings, diba?
Yes.
When there was no pandemic and there would always be durian in the park. So those days, we miss those days. But anyway, maybe we can recover and see each other again face to face. Okay.
Yes.
So shall we start now? Are you okay with our first question?
Oh,
Para namang quiz, but I think
okay.
they will be interested to know about gerontological nursing. But I have been asked this question like 1,000 times, but I would like also the question or the answer to come from you because this is a different perspective. Now, I have been asked a lot, and I prefer that you answer this question from your point of view. So we can get this out of the way. And having gotten this out of the way, we can go on with our lecture for no, not lecture, with our discussion and topic for tonight. And that would be what is the difference between geriatrics and gerontology?
Yes, that is a very valid
Very
question,
common
Dr.
question.
Eva. Yes, everyone is asking what's the difference. Well, when I was, remember, I was it was quite crucial for me to name our organization when I was trying to conceive it. And I read what the society where we initially belong was Philippine Society of Geriatric Medicine, right?
Yeah.
So I said,
Yes.
how do I call the Nurses Association? And I read that gerontological or gerontology is a multi-specialty group which includes the nurses, social workers, and those uh, interest group that look into the physical, social, emotional, mental, and spiritual and impact on aging. Whereas geriatrics is actually a medical specialty. So I feel that gerontological nursing is best. But don't be surprised in US and even here in the Philippines, they call gerontological nurses and geriatric as the same.
Yeah.
So, but for me, I would like to state that gerontological is more of multidisciplinary and but if we wanted to call geriatric nurses, I would say they are the nurses who take care
For
of the
all.
sick
Yeah.
older persons.
All right.
But the gerontological is more encompassing. We look into
Yeah.
everything. Yes.
So
So that
if you could
is
just, if I could just simplify it, like anyone who's interested in the study of older persons would be a gerontologist, and but you need to be a doctor, a medical doctor, to be called a geriatrician or someone in geriatrics.
yes.
But a, a gerontologist may not be a doctor, but
Yes.
a geriatrician may be a geriatrics and a gerontologist at the same time. And that's
Yes.
why here we're trying to put up our institute. We're going to call it a section or Institute of Geriatrics and Gerontology because you can never have geriatrics without the allied specialist group. So there has to be gerontology. So I hope that's
Yes.
clear because it's something that is a gray zone or a gray area to many people. Okay. So, well, now that we have gotten that out of the way, and I think it's really very important to get it out of the way. How is um, gerontological nurse different from all the other nurses in terms of nurse specialization? And can you give some of the examples? What makes it a bit of a special subset among the, the nurses in terms of skill set and the other things that you do?
Okay, at first, I would like to start that since we are all nurses, we are the same in the sense that we provide independent and collaborative care for our clientele, whether as an individual, as a group, or as a community, sick or well, in several settings. But our difference is the nature and type of our clientele. Our clientele, who are the older persons, are actually unique and very vulnerable. That would require a nurse to have special skills, competencies, and characteristics, both professionally and personally, to really take care of the older persons. I would say they are unique because despite similarity in age, you cannot actually expect them to be the same. They are very heterogeneous,
Yeah.
having reached their age, right? I will be different from other 73 years old. There will be some 73 years old will be stronger than me or weaker than me. So it's very different. And in that case, it would require the nurse to be very creative to come up with care that is fit to the older persons, based not only on age but on the functional capacity. So that's another one that we actually are very uh,
Concerned with.
concerned with. Yeah, the geriatric syndromes. Remember that. Because geriatric syndromes, unlike in young ones wherein you can attribute the symptoms to one organ, with older persons, it cannot be a discrete diagnosis, but rather it is actually caused by several uh, organs, and that
Mhm.
it would require different kind of management. So that's one of
Okay.
my example.
Well, what I know is from my experiences and exposures in Asia, in the US, and in Europe, the general consensus is that the older persons deserve the TLC plus add-ons. So, in particular, if you could be more specific by what they mean as the TLC, which is a tender loving care plus add-ons, and why.
Actually, TLC is tender loving care. My teacher always tell me that. But tender loving care should be not just giving the love, but it is giving the competence that you should have by knowing the functional capacity of the older persons. And number one, that I would always tell my students and even my co-nurses, there should always be the respect and dignity afforded to the older persons. They reach their age, they have their own set ways, and therefore we should respect them as to what they are and who they are. Remember, they are a person and they are our patient, so it should be more of person centered.
Person-centered care. That's it.
Yes.
All right.
But I have other meaning for TLC.
Well, for one, we have it's Talk Life channel for us. TLC.
Uh,
What's yours?
Mine actually is TLC is a plan of action or program for the
Mhm.
caregivers, because no older
All
persons
right.
would exist that age without having
True.
a caregiver.
So,
So the caregiver is very important. They are our vital partners.
so you
So
mean
for
tender
me,
loving caregiver?
no, yes, I have to give tender loving care, but TLC for me is training them. The
All right.
uniqueness, the complexity of needs of the older person would require good care. And we have to teach the caregivers what they can do. So that's training. The L actually is learning to lead the older persons, not leaving them physically, but for mental health break, they should detach at least from the older
Well,
person from time to time.
I think you're trying to prevent the so-called caregiver burden syndrome,
Yes,
because it can really be very stressful and depressing to
yes,
some of my family members who are taking care of their patients for the longest time.
yes.
And
And
what's your
of
last
course,
C?
and the C is caring for oneself, because
Self.
of the
Yeah.
great demand of care from an older person, they tend to neglect themselves. And therefore, in fact, in some studies, it showed that the caregivers die ahead of the patient
Yeah,
because of
we
the
just
stress.
we did
Because
discuss that.
sometimes the caregivers are older persons also. They're
True.
partners, right?
Especially
So,
because most of the children migrate to the States, so the
yes,
couple are left to themselves. So,
yes.
and to summarize it for you, TLC, when it comes to gerontological nursing, would be training, learning to detach themselves from the patient, and the third one is self care or caring for oneself. All right?
Yes,
Did I get everything
yes,
correct? Thank you.
yes.
So,
Thank you. I always say that because I really feel that the caregivers is very important in the caring for older
uh,
persons.
I would say that without the caregiver, the patient is nothing.
Yeah,
So,
that's why
we are.
I also, I have to tell you this also. Whenever I see patients, and I always teach this also to other professionals, when you
Mhm.
greet the older person, it's always kasama yung caregiver. So I
Oh,
will
yeah.
always say, "Oh, you both look good. It must be your good partnership." So that
Uh-huh.
it sort of alert the older person they need each other,
Mhm.
and the caregiver, they have social responsibility
Well,
also.
it's like a positive reinforcement for both, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that's very
Next,
important.
will be we are going to find out how one becomes a gerontological nurse, but you are going to answer that legs after we pause for a commercial break. We are going to,
Okay.
yeah, to thank our brand partners. Gel, we have a commercial.
Stay active and feeling bagets, I drink Nestle Boost Optimum para ang muscles malakas, pati immunity at digestive health ko. Nestle Boost Optimum, lakas makabagets!
Buy two, save 400 pesos.
Thank you to Torrent Pharma, not just healthcare, but life care. This show would like to thank Tacovid Superbio, the natural vitamin E.
Stay active and feeling bagets, I drink Nestle Boost Optimum para ang muscles malakas, pati immunity at digestive health ko. Nestle Boost Optimum, lakas makabagets!
Buy two, save 400 pesos.
And we are back with Mom Legs.
Yes, Dr. Eva.
So I'm going to formulate the question. So, but I have to give a backgrounder because, being old school and among the, like, I was the fourth one to graduate from St. Luke's batch of formal training as a geriatrician. Kami ni Dr. Jeff Castillo. But of course, as we all know, Jeff migrated to the States. So ako lang naiwan sa batch because there were only two of us. So the question is actually, how does one become a gerontological nurse? However, if I may just add and put in a bit of trivia, in 1996, when I first stepped into the geriatric center of St. Luke's Medical Center, we were able, Jeff and I were cleaning up, because we have these 5S of the HR, that your workplace has to be very neat. So we were trained to become OC as well when it comes to cleanliness. So the question was, what happened was when we first stepped into the office, we came across and we were able to retrieve a lot of materials that have to do with gerontological nursing. What's happening to my tongue? Like gerontological nursing training, which was a 2-week course in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and it was sponsored by, or it was conducted by the Asia Training Center on Aging, and at the time at COA, like if you get a scholarship to at COA, ang big time mo na, no? So Asia Training Center of Aging, because during also that time, it was when the Help Age International, the mother of all NGOs for the elderly, would give its funds to the to ATCOA, which for a bit of another trivia again, became the Philippines after a while because of its linkage with the Coalition of Services of the Elderly and its partnership with St. Luke's Medical Center, where they also get their volunteer doctors. So, however, during the time, Thailand was the main hub or like a mecca of training in gerontological nursing. So my question right now is, do we have something similar in the Philippines?
Actually, if the one offered in Thailand is regular, I would say we don't have a regular training. But
It's
I
2
would
weeks.
like,
It's 2 weeks.
yeah, we don't have that regular training.
You don't.
But I would like to mention though that our association has been offering basic course in gerontology, in the sense it would actually enhance the newly graduate to learn more about gerontology.
Ma'am
But
Lex,
this,
may I interrupt? Oh, which association? Because you belong to a lot of associations. So I would like to know which association. Is this the GNAP or the Gerontological Nurses Association of the Philippines, or is it the University of the Philippines College of Nursing?
actually, GNAP is Gerontological Nurses Association of the
Yes.
Philippines. So let's call it GNAP. So
Yeah.
the GNAP has actually a program, basic course in gerontological nursing. And this is like, we initially started for 5 days and it became 4 days. But it was given 40 credit units by the Professional
Yeah.
Regulation Board of Nursing. However, this is not offered regularly because there is no funding. The funding actually comes from the income. And being not a income generating association, we cannot afford to offer it all the time.
You
So it
mean
depends on the demand.
you earn or you sustain it from the registration fees?
Yes, that's how we actually offer it, because when it was face to face, it's quite costly. We invite speakers,
You
the
have to
food
feed
and
them,
everything. Yes, we don't have drug companies to
hotel.
support us.
Oo.
Also, I would like to mention also that due to the increased demand for carers, uh, for older persons abroad, the DOH became aware that we also need to prepare our nurses in caring for older persons here in the Philippines. So we came up with a 3-month training course.
Oh, wow.
Uh, yes, it is
Have you started?
actually 3 months training course. And this is
Have you
actually
started?
called a certification course for geriatrics and gerontological nursing. This is actually offered by DOH and GNAP. And
Yeah.
it is the funding, of course, is coming from the DOH. So it is only the DOH retained hospitals are the ones who can send participants to this training course. We actually had it for 3 successive years: 2016, 2017, 2018. Yeah, but
Mm.
I think we are actually cooking up some plans of how we can further do it. But again, the COVID-19 came in.
Yeah.
So,
Ma'am Lex, I have to be very candid with you. You know, I worked with the Southern Philippines Medical Center. It's supposed to be the biggest government-funded hospital in all of the Philippines with 1,500 beds and more, because we have some patients staying in the tents because we just can't accommodate them, especially now during the pandemic, and especially also now that we are renovating our emergency room. So the point here is that we only were able to send because of funding problems and funding issues. We were able to send only one
Yes,
geriatrics nurse for training. You
yes,
probably would know one of our gerontological nursing nurse gerontologists, and we only have one. So I feel that when we come up with an institute, it would really be very lacking. So what I'm trying to say is, we are in the age of the great tsunami. This is a word that, or this is a phrase that I have also used in my interview with Dr. Mike Ramos. And he also mentioned something similar about how we have to take care of the caregivers as well. But in the age of the great tsunami, do we have something that would make us say that, okay, we're prepared to take care of our older patients, nursing wise?
nursing wise,
Mhm.
I
Because
would say
to be honest, also, a lot of personnel have resigned because of the COVID. Not just in the government hospital, but even in the private hospital. I have to say that it's accurate, and you can extrapolate it to the entire archipelago, that we do have understaffing, and this is because of a lot of resignation. Even the plantilla items, they would resign. Even the contractual, they would resign. So my point here is that, how can we make ourselves prepared? This is a great tsunami that's brewing and just implode, and very few, we have very little budget for training.
yeah. Actually, that was the motive of DOH. That's why they're training the DOH retained hospital nurses.
Yeah,
But then, as I've said, it's very hard because it's only DOH which is offering it.
yeah.
So that we are actually put on a bind in the sense that we would like to offer it, but we
You
cannot
mean,
afford
would
it.
that be GNAP or the University of the Philippines College of Nursing?
Actually, the just recently we had actually training of primary caregivers in geriatrics. However, this is sponsored by World Health Organization and DOH.
This is
There,
the one in St. Luke's Global,
no,
or
this is actually UP College of Nursing and the World Health Organization and GNAP,
mm-hmm.
which which held this program
Uh-huh.
actually. But then again, it will go back into who will fund. Even the
It's always a
hospital
problem.
cannot afford to send their personnel to the training program. Imagine when
Maybe
we were
that,
training, some of them cannot. Just a minute, ma'am. I was cold. I have to vaccinate, something like that. So it's
yeah,
really very hard.
I did have
So if you will ask me, we are not yet ready for the tsunami.
well, that's very
Imagine,
sad because we as a doctor, like, I came in as a latecomer in the government sector. I've been in private practice for the longest time, and when it came to the budget, it came as a culture shock to me because I think we were given a budget of 400 pesos a day, and that already includes your 3 meals, transportation, and hotel. How can you stretch 400? Like, it's just one meal, honestly.
yes.
So, and you will be away from your clinic for, say, 4 or 5 days. But then again, because it's para sa bayan, sige na, magtapal ka na nga. And then you will get the reimbursement like 3 4 months, or sometimes you would even forget about it. But it's really a non-issue with me. I mean, I have done a lot of work pro bono, but the point here is that, how can we make people aware, those at least in the policy making bodies and those in the budget committee, realize that this is a very pressing concern? Do we have to lobby, or how do we lobby about this?
Actually, to be fair to them, I think the government has
Ang bait
to
talaga
be
ni
fair
Ma'am
to
Grace.
them. Uh,
Okay.
Before the pandemic, there are so many programs going on talking
Yeah.
about older persons, the
I remember
facilities, and
TV.
everything.
Yeah, they were
But
all
then
over the
again,
country.
with the
Uh,
coming of COVID, it was sort of aborted or put
it's like
into a
turned
stop,
upside
right?
down.
However, I would like to thank Dr. Mimi Binluan
Yeah,
because
me, I
again,
met her.
yes, because with her partnership with World Health Organization again, we were able to come up with a health and wellness program, planned health and wellness program for older persons. Even
Was it
during the COVID, it was finalized. And
was it not a research, or it was an actual program?
it's not, it's actually a plan of program. It's
Okay.
actually a proposed
Like
plan of
what
program for
Shelley
health
is
and
doing with
wellness.
the
For DOH actually. So it will
all right.
cover a lot of Filipinos. I hope when everything will be okay. And also, I think the government is getting conscious. Remember, we now have the National Commission on Senior Citizen. We have a newly formed national.
So this is different from the Federation of Senior
No, it's
Citizens.
different now. This
It's
will
not
be,
PESCAP. All right.
yeah, this will
So
be the
PESCAP,
umbrella organization of all
PESCAP is
organization.
DSWD, right?
PESCAP
PESCAP,
is actually a national
DSWD.
also,
Okay.
like Federation of Elderly. There's so many. But
Yes.
I think,
Even veterans.
yes,
Even
there's a
veterans
lot.
is representation.
But
Yes.
this National Commission on Senior Citizen will become the umbrella organization
So it's
eventually.
even bigger than PESCAP.
Yes, it will
Right.
cover everything actually because this is a government organization.
Well, actually, I like the sound of it because somehow it's starting. It's like a where I'm getting there, so I might benefit.
Yes, actually,
From
there's so many. Despite the pandemic, there's still so many going on. In fact,
yeah,
I am a consultant of the Institute on Aging, National
this is
Institute of
in
Health,
age, yeah,
IA.
NA.
We are often called to discuss about how we will uh, propose to National Commission on Senior Citizens on the care of older persons. Of course, IA is more of research, right?
All
But
right, which is
translating
also
the
something
findings
that
of
we lack,
research,
diba? We
yes.
also
But
are very lacking in research in terms of database. And that's
yes,
why the work of Shelley with the World Health Organization is getting database and
yes,
clusters
yes.
of frailty at the same time. So I was once part of it, but I got busier. So I think during the first phase of the program I was, but in the actual and field work, I found it very difficult. I just couldn't juggle my time. So in any case, I know that it's still ongoing, and it has to, because it's being funded by World Health Organization. My point lang talaga, Ma'am Lex, is that even during the pandemic, this is not going to stop people from getting older, and
Yeah.
that this
And
has
they
to
are,
be
they
stopped.
are getting worse. Actually, the condition is getting worse, especially for those sick older persons
Well,
during this
yeah, you're
pandemic.
correct. The last month, I'm sorry, last episode, we discussed elderly abuse. And during my research and readings, in fact, they reported that there are more elderly abuse during the time of pandemic. And it's really very sad.
Yes.
And it's even sadder to know that we have very few nurses who have been given the chance to train as gerontological nurses. So, in any case, I was supposed to ask, the next question was, if one wants to specialize in gerontological nursing, where does one go, and what is the process like? But you already answered it. So if we could just give you a little break, because we may just speak for a long stretch of time, just to give you a water break or something. Jel, do we have something in the chat box or some comments?
How would I know the chat box?
They would flash it.
Okay.
Marlene Padua, is this a friend of yours, Marlene Padua?
Yeah.
And
She's
giving the 3 hearts.
she's connected with PhilHealth actually. She's one
Oh,
of
with
my
PhilHealth.
best. Yes.
Hi, Marlene Padua. You're with PhilHealth. Thank you. Friends tayo ha. Atalor, good evening. And our guest, Ma'am Legs. And Jovi Perez, good evening. Hi, Jovi. Kita na naman tayo. Kanina umaga, nagkita tayo sa kape. Kausapin ang Panginoon every day. Program po ng Talk Life Channel that is actually nurturing and enhancement of the daily gospel. So after ka magmisa, if you wanna listen to some more of the gospel, Brother Henry did na to explains it. And check attendance kami parati ni Ma'am Jovi. So good evening po and thank you for watching.
Good evening, Ma'am Jovi.
Cynthia Aragones would be your friend.
I don't remember.
And and then we have good evening Cynthia and Novi Pelera, and she's the queen of my office. Good evening, Novi. Thank you for watching, and TLC watchers. Lidop Nicole C. Ibor. Good evening, Doc. Hello, and thank you, Gina Sanchez. Thank you. Ang dami nating viewers. Jerome de los Santos, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Jerome, for watching. Robert Matthew, thank you for watching.
Hi.
Robert, thanks.
I call him Matthew. Hello, Matthew.
Matthew, thanks for allowing me to post my my program posters in the website. I always post and I always ask permission, PTPA, permission to
He's
post.
very interested in older person. That's one thing I can assure you.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you so much. Oh, Jolene Tapang. Good evening po.
Hello.
Good evening din.
Magandang gabi po.
We have a lot of viewers. Linda, Eva, good evening po. Thank you for watching. Freda Nicolas, good evening to all.
Good evening po.
And we have, Jerilyn Masanya Reyes. Hi, ma'am. I'm glad to see you again. Your previous student in postgrad. And I really like, wow. So
Hi, Jerilyn. Happy to, glad you're watching us. Thank you.
Okay, some more of your fans. Oh, Leah Casiple, she's with a pharmaceutical company. Good evening, Ate Leah. Completo. We have 3 hearts from Eileen Pagusan Villalobos, a friend of yours, a friend of ours. Whoever is watching this is a friend of ours. Heart din po. And our Charmaine Hiloma, good evening po, and thank you for watching. We have Juno Rivera and
Alice,
a friend of yours or student of yours.
Oh, I know him. Hi, attorney. Good evening.
I don't know.
I know you're interested because we're both going there, right? Where's Enzo?
Enzo is probably still in the Gold Star. That's their venue for practicing the basketball. And then Jerry Lynn Masangya Reyes. Good evening po from the Department of Education.
Hi, Jerry Lynn, thank you. Marlene Padua, I called her my honorable Marlene Padua, my great.
She's the one from PhilHealth?
Yes, she's from PhilHealth.
Best friend na tayo, ha?
A former general. She's a general, actually.
Oh, general. Right.
Yes.
And service po?
Actually, she's a nurse.
Okay. And then we have Crisanta Bernados. Good evening po.
We know her.
You know her.
Palatero.
Dr. Maan, good evening. And
Hi.
Ma'am
Hello.
Lex is here, watching from Binalonan, Pangasinan. I told you we are all over the archipelago. And we have Rachel Dapada. Good evening from DSWD Haven for the Elderly.
Yes, in
Just,
Tanay.
just a trivia.
Hello,
I did
Rachel.
about 21 batches of training for caregivers for DSWD in the last couple of decades after I came back in 1998. And they used to have kasi a project specialist for older persons, but after the one who's in charge of that retired, they did not resurrect the position anymore. So anyway,
Actually, the Haven for the Elderly was also one of our partner institution in our training of DOH scholars.
great.
So thank you
So
to
the DOH
them.
scholars are those people who were sent by the government hospital to train.
Yes, we have 100 of them. 3
Okay.
in
So
Davao.
kasali yung isa namin sa Davao.
Yes,
Yung
but there
nag-iisa
are 3 in Davao, 2 and 1 from 2 in what is that hospital? The Davao Medical Center?
No,
And one from,
Southern Philippines Medical Center.
yeah, but 2 are in Davao Medical Center, I think. 1 in SPMC.
No, SPMC used to be
1.
called Davao Medical Center. Or maybe you meant DRH, Davao Regional.
Yes,
That's
Medical
in
Center.
Davao del
Yes.
Norte. Oo.
Yes. There
Okay,
are 2
and
there.
then Ma'am Legs, heart,
Oh,
for you.
she's one of our scholars from Bicol. Hi, Tefi.
Ah, amazing.
They
So
have a
recovery-
Bicol Geriatric Center actually.
Okay, Ma'am
Oh,
Remy is a friend of mine. Look at the
Yes.
color, that's her political color. And Ma'am Remy, good evening. And another friend of yours, Janeline Nasangya. And Lian, she's from a pharma company, a friend of mine. Good evening, Leah.
So
So
beautiful.
so
Yes.
honest. Thank
I
you.
agree. I definitely agree with you, Lilian.
Okay, Maria Riza Cruz is also from the pharma
Kidapawan
company.
City.
Natin kung merong beautiful dito. Good evening, Doc Eva, and to guests, that would be Ma'am Legs, watching from Kidapawan City. Oh, they're all over. And Liz Ann, thank you, Doc, and good evening. Wow, thank you so much. We have a lot of viewers. Crisanta Bernados, good evening po. Ayan, mga
From the
taga
Haven
Haven
also.
Oh my, did you know that this girl is from Arizona, from Phoenix? Magandang gabi po. Sa tanan naman, Beto. Oh, thank you. Where are you now? But chika na lang tayo sa Facebook. Good evening and hello to Jason. And we have Rex Crawford Lihan.
Another friend of yours.
Another friend of mine. Good evening, Doc Eva. May mga heart. And then Badette Navarra would be a friend of yours because she's a Pleasant Evening Beautiful Doctors Veterans Memorial Medical Center. Okay, we have our target hospital. Thank you. Good evening po. Jerome Tapas, good evening po. From St. Camilo's Medhaven Senior Living Community in Marikina, the biggest one, I would say.
Yes.
150 beds. Hi, Jerome. Wow, that's a lot. Mas napagod yata ako dun sa greeting kaysa actual show, Ma'am Legs. But I'm so glad that we reached a lot of viewers for tonight. I didn't realize that. So we were actually from, we have Feli Jeremias. Good evening po. Hello, Ma'am Legs.
She's also from Bicol, one of our scholars. They are the first, their hospital is the first that was mandated to be a geriatric training center.
Oh yeah,
it's a big hospital.
If I could just mention, may she rest in peace. It was started by Sophie.
Yes.
I miss her, but ang ganda ng sinimula ni Sophie. We were talking about it a lot because I think it was a sanitarium converted into a.
But I learned that Dr. Metz Ramirez is now the one handling it. She's one of their consultants, I would say.
Well, they couldn't have chosen a better consultant, and Mitch was very dedicated.
Yes, but you know, one thing good is Dr. Sarmiento, who is the director of Bicol Medical Center. The hospital is very supportive.
I could feel that. You know why? Because when I was requested to speak as a lecturer for dementia and Alzheimer's disease, he put up a huge projector in the, during pandemic na yun, so it was a Zoom conference. He put up a huge projector in the gymnasium so people can watch it. More and more people could watch it. And it shows you that there's this kusa, na pagkukusa na parang, okay, I want my employees and my personnel to learn more, and he gave them that opportunity. It was a Sunday, so it wasn't very busy. So that was Dr. Sarmiento pala, no? Amazing.
Yes.
Doc, hats off to you. Thank you. Ma'am Lex, I am amazed by the extent of your connections. So you are really the epitome of the nurse na mula Apari hanggang Hulo. Okay? But I have nothing to do with that politician. Huh? I'm just saying that your reach is from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao and beyond. Okay? So I have another question. Is gerontology already incorporated in the nursing curriculum of the BSN, or Bachelor of Science in Nursing, in the Philippines? Because I remember during the time, because we were the one making his slides, when the late Dr. Gatchalian was teaching at the time it was called the William Quasha Memorial Medical School. Jeff and I would alternate in lecturing because Dr. Gatchalian at the time would get tired, and anyway we were the ones making the slides, so we knew that as early as 1990s, late 1990s, William Quasha, or St. Luke's Medical Center Medical School, was already incorporating geriatrics. And I'm not privy because I'm super part-time na lang. Unlike before that, I'd spend about 8 hours in med school to teach. Now it's by invitation, by choice. I'm no longer privy to how the curriculum is made or how the syllabi are made or synchronized by the APMC, Association of Philippine Medical Colleges. So I'm not sure how much gerontology and geriatrics is part of the curriculum, but in another spectrum, I'm asking whether or not this is part of BSN, or is it an elective?
Actually, it's a long story. The
You want a part
UP,
two?
UP College of Nursing actually started it way back in the 70s, even in the master's program.
Wow.
But to be fair to the nursing profession, the older person is always a part of the care because our course is always across the lifespan. You know how it was said. But it was so we have been offering in UP, like in the early 80s probably, the care for the older persons and the chronically ill as an elective course. And I think the Association of Deans of the Philippine College of Nursing actually followed. However, with the increasing number of older persons, I think it was in CMO number 15 of 2017 of the CHED that the care of the older persons became a mandated course.
Oh.
It is called NCM 114. So it is very much integrated in the nursing curriculum. I'm proud to say that.
As early as 1970s, sana pag-iwanan ng med school.
In the that was in the College of Nursing, but it took longer for
the med school. Yeah, because when I came back, I actually made a syllabi that coincided with what Dr. Gatchalian made, but it was rejected by the old medical school that I belonged to, by the dean, and that was one of the reasons why I didn't feel welcome. I mean, the course was not welcome. And in fact, my 16-hour, no, my 18-hour lecture was reduced to 6 hours. Imagine, from 18 hours was reduced to 6 hours because they wanted to give more for the lecture on gender sensitivity, which I thought would have been better with community medicine, So, uh, well, I think I hope that they are resetting their curriculum. I'm no longer privy to what's happening, but with the other medical school where I belong, I get to be invited to lecture on older persons subjects. There are a lot, and it's more than 3 hours. So yeah, I'm happy with the second one. In any case, mom legs. There is another question. Um, if one wants to specialize, no, in the absence of an independent body that gives the nursing specialization, is there a part, any part in the world, maybe not now, where one can go to? Like, for example, in your stint, we have in Malta. In my case, I've had several in the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, all because of Help Age International and through the help of Coalition of Services of the Elderly. I owe these NGOs a lot, and I haven't had, and probably I will never have enough thank yous to them because of all the exposures and all the enhancement uh, that they have given me in my career. However, for nursing, is there an equivalent? Because you had your stint in Malta. Besides Malta, is there any? I know there's one in Singapore, but you have to pay, and it's
Yes.
pricey. So, is there any other? Oh, I'm not sure if Chiang
Actually,
Mai. I'm not sure if Chiang Mai is going on with it because they no longer have the kind of support that they used to get from Help Age International.
actually, the University of the Philippines, Open University, is offering a Masters of Arts in Nursing, specializing in gerontology.
Oh, there is,
But
but
yeah,
Open
but they
University is
are just
online.
starting. They are just starting, actually.
But it's good to know. Do you have more information, Mom Lex? Because I'm sure there will be a lot, especially if it's online.
Yeah,
Open
online.
University, oh,
Yes. Just
so I'm
click the UPOU and you can actually. And I'm
I'm
one of the
going.
teachers.
Mom Lex, can you just see it again? So there, okay. For those who are interested, there is a course. Is it a
Yes,
certificate?
Masters of Arts in Nursing.
Master of Art. So they
Now,
have
Masters of Science in Nursing with Gerontology Nursing as tracking.
major in
Yeah,
gerontological nursing. Okay,
yes,
so this is good news for those who want to specialize, who are
yeah,
nurses, and who probably, if you have resigned and you have nothing much to do, you may want to enroll in the UP Open University, and this
yeah.
is online, and they have a Master of Arts in
Master of
Nursing.
Science in
Master
Nursing,
of Science, okay, MSc, no? Master of Science in Nursing with major
major
in
in gerontology.
gerontology.
Yeah, and
Gerontology.
they will be trained as practitioner, as an educator, and as a researcher. So
So
those three trackings
those three,
actually.
okay? So they're not
Yes,
just going to be staff nurses or admin nurses, but they will also be a practitioner, an educator, and a presenter, lecturer, trainer.
yes. All the
So,
UP Masters of Arts in Nursing actually trained our students in those three big roles.
yeah, it's amazing. Now, I would like to know how much would that cost? UP being,
I
yeah,
would not know. I am
Master's of
sorry.
Science in Nursing, major in Gerontology at UP Open University. So, what are the search words? They because if you don't have the website, they will just have to say, or like if they Google UP Open University Masters of
Yes.
Science. All right, okay, that's all they need to do. Okay, so now, if in case for the nurses who have resigned and you don't have other options, and alongside watching your children who are also on online, you might also want to go online. Diba? Very productive.
Yes, I
Okay, because
agree.
the thing about uh, online learning is that some of them you can just, because I also am a product of some of the online trainings, you can also just take it as a homework and then submit it, or you can just click whenever you feel like clicking it. Sometimes ako patulog na saka ako nagsasagot. Di ba naglalak lang siya, no? Like one or two
Yes.
tries and then it will lock, and then okay, that's your grade. So yeah, that's a very good way to spend whatever extra time you have if you're a nurse and would want to learn new skills, would want to learn new knowledge and skill set. Okay, that's a very good news, Mom Legs. So that means we don't have to go abroad to do that, no? It's just a question of how much. But
I'm
UP,
sorry, I have no
it's
idea.
okay. But UP being
I
UP as
don't
a
look into that.
university will not be very expensive. They don't have to pay a rent for a
Yeah.
boarding house or a plane fare or be away from their family. Okay, so that's a very, very, very good news. Okay, so um, I think we have covered pretty much everything that we want to learn about gerontological nursing, and it's a very good thing that you ended up with a very good point that there is hope, and at the same time we also ah, Um, yes, you may. My teacher.
You're my teacher.
Oh, okay. Estudyante niyo, ma'am. Ang grade.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding, Aileen. All right. So you're currently teaching. Okay. So we have some more. Geraldine Masangya Reyes. I am a nurse teacher with masteral. Is there any law in Congress that reinforces the elderly nursing program to help our elderly, especially the outcome of the effect of COVID vaccination? Um, Mom, would you like to answer that one? Because I do have an answer for that.
Actually, with regards to the older persons, we are actually first priority when it outside of the workforce. The older persons are
Yeah.
always in the priority. So I think we are pretty much covered. But however, it is the local government units who actually do the implementation. But it is in the IATF guidelines that the older persons are the priority. So I
Oh,
think that would
what she meant
answer.
kasi, Mom, if it is in Congress, is there a law? But I think I would like to answer Janine.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am. That anything that has to do with COVID, and you're talking about the side effect of vaccines, will not be covered by Congress, not even by DOH, but rather by the AFI, the adverse event immediately after injection, uh, adverse event following injection. So AFI, and they are usually consisted. They are composed of allergists and immunologists, and they do not. Uh, they are not part of DOH, but they make guidelines for
yes,
and recommendations for DOH to follow. So whether or not DOH is going to pick it up, this is our recommendation as a society because this is our specialization, then go ahead, follow it. Most of the time, my friends who are allergists and immunologists, hi Carrie, I hope you're doing well, would say that most of the time the recommendations are being followed. And this is a bit of a crucial issue because we're done with the rollout for the older persons. We've done it as early as immediately it followed the healthcare workers. I think the issue right now would be the rollout for the 5-year-old to 11-year-old. So, with regard to your question about older persons, uh, because you're emphasizing on side effects, Januline, I think it is still the domain or the turf of AP, the adverse event following injection, and it is a recommendatory body that is being followed, or that makes recommendations and suggestions and other issues that the Department of Health may or may not follow. So I think we're talking about DOH. Congress, it's difficult to go through Congress because you have the first reading, second reading, third reading, and in between will be a lot of debates. So it makes the process very slow. And when you have a pandemic, time is of the essence. So I think it's AFI, IATF, and then DOH. I hope I was able to answer your question, Jenny Reyes. Thank you for asking that question. Okay, do you have other questions? Well, there being none, Mom Legs, your parting words.
Actually, I have two parting words. I wrote it.
Oh, you
For
have.
the older persons, I would like to
What? Please.
say there our gray hair is a crown of splendor. It is attained by righteous life. In fact, it's written in Proverbs 16, verse 31.
I thought
So
you were going
that's
to say Second Colossians 15, that the Lord hears the prayer of the righteous.
okay. And to
Proverbs.
add, I would like to say growing old is a gift, aging is a privilege, and not many are privileged of. So stay healthy, and by staying healthy, it means staying healthy in mind, body, and spirit. So for the
Mom Legs.
caretaker, for the carers, for the doctors, for the nurses, and for the carers, please remember, please, there is no one size fits all for older persons. Respect them and provide dignity in caring, and make sure you start low and go slow. So thank you
I'm
very
notorious
much.
for that. I don't do the
Yes.
full dose right away, we have one from Eileen Villalobos. On my batch, we are only 3 students taking up major geriatrics and gerontology at UP Open. Tuition is reasonable and budget friendly. Okay, thanks so much for validating that, and that would be very encouraging. Thank you,
Thank you.
Villalobos. Wow, amazing! So we have a testimonial that it's something that's doable. Okay, and with regard to your parting words, Legs, thank you so much for a living example to that. Um, being healthy in mind, body, and spirit, because I've known you for that long. And I would like to thank you for gracing this evening's episode on gerontological nursing. I never expected this to have this many number of greeters at least. And I hope that for those who are not nurses and to the viewing public, I hope that you learned a lot from tonight's episode. And the very essence of our talk for tonight is that when Mom Legs said that there is no one size fits all, you cannot put a blanket statement that, okay, if this is how an older person feels, this is what you give, this is what you do. No. She also mentioned that the older population is heterogeneous. It means that, again, this is not a one size fits all. This is always a case to case, individualized basis. Not all people grow old the same way. You may be 65, but you have the heart of maybe 65, but already you are on a wheelchair. That makes you your age, chronological age, not match your biological age. Maybe because of smoking and drinking and other vices. So you compare that with another person who may be an 80-year-old or 85, but is still doing ballroom dancing, very productive, doing gardening and some plantita work, and doing some bantay bata on the side. So this person chronologically may be older, but biologically is healthier or younger. So they don't always go together. So they don't age the same way. So I think, Mom, you would agree that that would be somehow the summary of your talk. But also to say that, I would also like to say that you are saying that the Philippines is not yet prepared for the great tsunami when there will be a lot of older persons. So we are hoping again that during this election, we are going to listen to candidates who have platforms for older persons program in their agenda. But I'm not hearing any so far. Okay, so maybe like what we did in the SCAP, or the Extended Senior Citizens Act of the Philippines in 2010, we started as a Magna Carta of older persons, and we had the older persons actually sit in the gallery in the Congress during the time of Congressman Lara and Congressman Shalsita, until it became a law during the time of GMA. So, pag may initiative, baka may mararating din naman. So, I hope that we can do the same for gerontological nursing, because from experience, I would say that there's very little budget that is allocated, and I think we need more, please, for our nurses. Not just for the basic salary is another issue, but to be a nurse specialist in gerontology is also another bigger issue. Okay, so with that, I'm gonna close the program. Like some more parting words.
Actually, I would like to thank you for
Yeah,
making
you're
me
top
here.
of mind. I wouldn't think of anyone else.
Thank you for
Just
that.
Lydia Manahan. Yeah.
But I also would like to say, can I say my thank you to other people?
Of course, go ahead.
Okay, first I would like to thank our advisor, Dr. Cecil Laurente. She was the one who sent me to Malta, and she is the advisor of the GNAP. Of course, I am thankful to my co-officers, Dr. Balabagno, Dr. Rasalan, uh, Professor Pagsibigan. I cannot name them all because I'm afraid
O baka
I will consume all the. And of course, I would like to thank Dean Bonito. She is also very supportive of our program. She is the current dean and one of the youngest dean of the College of Nursing. Of course, I would like to thank Mimi Binluan, Minerva
Dr. Mimi,
Binluan
good
of
evening.
DOH,
Yeah.
because of her advocacy
Get
for
a picture
older
together.
persons. Of
You're
course,
doing
my very good friend and the top notch, Dr. Shelly De La Vega,
Dr.
the
Shelly, good
Director of
evening.
Institute on Aging, Dr.
NIH. Yeah.
Kamagay. A lot
Dr.
of doctors,
Dong,
a lot of you have actually helped me in developing me to become I think I'm a good gerontological nurse.
you are. That's why you're
So
top of mind.
I
Like
would
I
like
said,
to
I'm
thank
not.
everyone and even
Yeah.
my friends, Dr. Marlene Padua, Dr. Glenda Arquisa, all of them. I'm sorry I cannot name all of you, but I'm thankful. You are my inspiration.
I am amazed you have a huge network. And I'd like to say to the public that it is also important to have a huge network of friends, especially when you are in your later years. Okay? So
Yeah.
with this, this is all we have for this evening's episode of season 1, episode 9. This has been a very wonderful exchange with Professor Lydia Manahan, PhD in nursing. And she's very humble. Kanina nilagay niyo lang nurse, Lydia. You have PhD. You write it down. You worked hard for it. Okay, so thank you so much, Ma'am Lydia. We are so honored to have you sit with us in this evening's episode. And to our viewers, thank you very much to my technical support and to my technical support in the channel, TLC, and to my technical support at home. Thank you very much to my number one fan, Attorney Angel. Salamat sa pag-greet, and to my son Enzo, we can anak because they're very serious about their practice. So yeah, this is Dr. Eva Aranas Angel, and thanking you for being with me, spending part of your Saturday evening with me, and I hope that you will enjoy the rest of the evening. And for next episode in Kuwentong Alzheimer's at Iba Pa on Saturday, February 12, we have a part of a pabaro ha kasi because there's another program that's using the word Feb-ibig, like February being the month of love, but I'm not a believer of Valentine, but I can write on and I can coast along with the issue. So we have a Valentine special on February 12th. I cannot divulge the details, but it's going to be a surprise. You might be able to use that as a tutorial for February 14th. So that's it. I think my voice is telling me to stop now. I would like to thank everyone again and have a good evening. And please stay safe. I know that our numbers are going down, but still on all. We are in a pandemic. So ingat po tayong lahat at magandang gabi. At lagi po namin sinasabi, join me, Ma'am Lex, in saying na sama-sama sa TLC. Okay, so as we bid you good night, sama-sama,
Sa TLC.
samahan niyo po ako. Sama-sama
Sama-sama sa TLC.
Sa TLC. Okay, magandang gabi at maraming salamat po. Thank you, Ma'am